Dutch Mid-Atlantic.
New Netherland, the brazen Dutch brainchild wedged between the Atlantic tides and the wild frontier, wasn't your typical colonial operation. When Henry Hudson steered his ship up the river that would bear his name in 1609, he wasn't chasing empire. He was chasing spice dreams and shortcuts to Asia. But the Dutch didn't dabble in fantasy. They dealt in finance, and thus began the improbable birth of New Netherland, a colony as bold, messy, and mercantile as the mines that made it. By 1621, the Dutch West India Company, a crown-chartered Frankenstein fueled by profit-hungry shareholders, planted its corporate flag in the Americas. Don't picture a disciplined colonial machine. Picture a Wall Street startup with a musket problem. Governance came from distant directors who understood dividends better than diplomacy. Mismanagement? Constant. Turf wars with Native Americans? Frequent. But amid the chaos, commerce thrived. It was messy, but it made money. Then came the magician's sleight of hand, the 1626 purchase of Manhattan. For a pocketful of trade goods, the Lenape handed over what would become the beating heart of modern capitalism. Out of this came New Amsterdam, a swirling, smoldering cultural cocktail. Calvinist restraint met chaotic cosmopolitanism. Germans, Jews, Africans, and rogue Englishmen filled the streets, trading not just goods, but beliefs. It was a marketplace of flesh, faith, and freedom, where profit met pluralism in a very noisy marriage. This experiment in pluralism was thrilling and fragile. The Dutch favored tolerance, sure, but mostly when it didn't threaten the bottom line. Governance was light, laws looser still. But tolerance curdled when commerce stalled or cultures collided. Indigenous diplomacy frayed, slavery crept in. The dream hit the hard wall of human limits. Freedom without fairness isn't justice. It's just power in a nicer suit. The British noticed. By 1664 they moved in, not with guns blazing, but with a signature and a shrug. The colony fell with barely a shot. Yet the Dutch didn't disappear. Their habits, their rhythms, their worldview remained embedded in the soil and spirit of the place. Under British rule, New Amsterdam didn't vanish. It mutated. What emerged was a hybrid, part crown, part company town, all future New York. The Dutch left fingerprints everywhere. Their embrace of religious tolerance prefigured the First Amendment. Their capitalist pragmatism forecasted America's future obsession with markets. Even their irrigation and land use strategies shaped America's agrarian backbone. And politically, just ask Martin Van Buren or the Roosevelts. Dutch blood ran thick through the veins of American reformers and power brokers alike. But slow down before the tulip waving begins. This wasn't some early modern utopia. The displacement of indigenous peoples? Absolutely. Complicity in the Atlantic slave trade? No denial there. The unrestrained pursuit of profit created casualties, moral, ecological, and human. The Dutch belief in limited interference often meant turning a blind eye when justice demanded a harder look. New Netherland wasn't perfect. It was a crucible, a gritty, glorious collision of ideals and interests. It was ambition crashing into reality, liberty tested by greed, diversity strained by dominance. And for a moment, it worked. Not cleanly, not forever, but enough to leave a mark. You can still hear it today, in the rush of Wall Street, in the tangled dialects of New York, in every debate where freedom squares off against responsibility. New Netherland wasn't just a colony, it was a question. What happens when you throw commerce, culture, and chaos into a single pot and light a fire underneath? We're still figuring out the answer.
So, you've endured a slice of the RPTM podcast. We're not saying we aimed to tickle your funny bone, but we wouldn't mind if a chuckle accidentally slipped out. And hey, if we managed to wring a tear or two from those ducts of yours, that's just a bonus. If, against all odds, you found this episode remotely captivating, consider sparing a thumbs upward motion and indulge in the grand gesture of subscribing. Who knows, you might subject yourself to more of our potentially mind-stirring tete-a-tete in the future.